dear students. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I've been talking of certain speeches a number of while, and uh, to tell you the truth is that actually in Paradise Lost Book 1, Saturn has been the most important character and worthy of discussion from a number of perspectives. Most probably is perhaps Walter Scott has mentioned it sometime that uh, Milton has been at the devil's party without knowing it. I partially agree with the statement, and most probably I had been talking of this thing in the beginning of this discussion as well. But there are few things like many times it has been debated whether Saturn has been the hero of Paradise Lost Book 1, or whether he has got the most courageous character, the most influential, and the most convincing character in Paradise Lost Book 1. So, up to an extent, we cannot render it an ultimate truth, but still we have certain glimpses where we come to know that yes, Saturn is the hero of Paradise Lost Book 1, and that yes, he is a courageous and a daring character whose speeches are the most influential, and sometimes they're only the speeches which are relied on for determining what kind of character Saturn has got. So I'm going through a few speeches. I've shared the summaries of four of speeches of Saturn in a WhatsApp group, and here for I'm, I'm like going to read a few speeches, two or three from it, and then you'll come to know that what kind of things there have been. So the first speech begins with where he tries to win the favor of his peers, of his companions, and they rebel against God, and specifically Beelzebub, who is next in rank with him. If thou beest he, but thou hast fallen chained from him who in the hid realms of light clothed with transcendent brightness lets outshine my ways. Thou bright take ye who mutually united thoughts and counsels, equal hope and hazard in the glorious enterprise. Join with me once, now misery hath joined. Nothing special in this thing, that is just encouraging his followers to more, something more that is taking place. So I don't think that there is anything important with regard to this, apart from thinking this way that Satan is trying to win the power of his followers. But the important line comes here. Uh, he with his thunder until then, who knew the force of those thy arms? This is a kind of weakness, as if God was not aware of his power until. And this is Satan and his friends who tested and put to trial the power in arms of God. And from that point onward, God came to know. So that this was Satan who helped God discover his power. Yet not for those, not what the potent vector in his age. Can else inflict, do I repent or change? Very important. Like, do I repent or change is, now he has done that thing, but though change in outward luster that fixed mind and hide disdain from sins of injured merit. I have discussed this sense of injured merit, that with the mightiest raise me to contend and to the fires contention brought along innumerable force of spirit's arm that does dislike his reign in me preferring means that there are too many other people who prefer me or God. His utmost power with adverse power opposed in dubious battle of the plains of heaven and shook his throne. We had this ability to show, we shook the throne of God. What though the field below hostile is not lost, the unconquerable will. This is the most important line, the crux of this speech. What though the field be lost? You know, we have lost the battlefield, we have lost paradise, but all is not lost. Why is all not? The unconquerable will and the in study of revenge, immortal hate, and courage never to submit or yield. Now, in this portion, this the heroism and the bravery and the I tell I tell you, it says the unconquerable will. Okay, physically he has diminished us. Physical God has troubled us, but the unconquerable will, God cannot conquer our will. And for this reason, we'll have a study of revenge. We are going to take revenge of this immortal act and courage never to submit or yield. This is the point. That he says never to submit or yield. And in this statement, he differs himself from Adam because Adam at once says, "Oh God, forgive me, I have made a mistake," but he says never to submit or yield, and that's the thing. And what else is not to be overcome? And what else is not to be overcome? You know, God cannot overcome us. Like if we do not submit before Him, that is what Satan says. So he cannot overcome me. And like in movies, you might have watched certain things that, despite that the hero is being tortured physically, but mentally there is a rebel, and this is that rebellion nature in the hero, and the audience are in trouble. So that glory never shall his wrath or might extort from me. That is, whatever he does to me, I'm not going to acknowledge him. To bow and sue for grace, I'll never, मैं कभी नहीं झुकूंगा और ना उसकी राह तलब करूंगा with suppliant need to become to to declare myself inferior and subordinate to him. I'll never do this and defy his power. Who from the terror of this arm so late doubted his empire, that were so that were knowing he doubted his power, that were in ignominy and shame beneath this downfall, since by fate the strength of gods and this imperial substance cannot fail, since the true experience of this great event in arm in arms not was in foresight, much advanced we may with more successful hope resolve to wage by force a guile eternal war, irreconcilable to our grand fool. Now look at this. Like now we have come to know that we cannot. fight God or war with God will be, something, an abortive effort. We won't be able to have any victory here. So let's change our battlefield, and now eternal war, and that war will be either by force or by deception, and that will be against our grand foe. And who is it? Who now triumphs and in the excess of joy, soul reigning holds the tyranny of heaven. So specifically consider this word tyranny of heaven as if, as if, as if this heaven was built by Satan, and God took it from him. That is, it's wonderful. So this is first speech, and I'm moving to some part of the second speech where he says, "Fallen cherub to be weak is miserable, doing or suffering. There are two chances. There are two chances. Doing or suffering. We'll either be fighting or suffering. But of this be sure, to do what good never will be our task. To do what good never will be our task. But ever to do ill our soul delight, will be delighted in doing ill, as being the contrary to his eye. Well, God demands from us to do good, but we will never do good. Whom we resist, and we resist him, so we are not going to do. If then his providence out of our evil seek to bring forth good, our labor must be to prevent that. And even if we do something bad, and God turns that bad into good for someone, so our hard work will be to pervert, to lead people astray, and out of good still to find means of evil. And we will try to find means of evil in goodness as well, which oft times may succeed so as perhaps should grieve him, if I fail not and disturb his inmost counsels from their distant aim. You know, if we attempt to fail some of his schemes, so it will disturb him. His ministers of vengeance and pursued back to the gates of heaven, the sulphurous hail shot after us in storm overblown, hath led the fiery surge that from the precipice of heaven received us falling and thunder. I'm just going through it. It will be a bit difficult to explain each and everything. I'm just relying on certain important things. Mm. What reinforcement we may gain from hope, if not what resolution from despair. So that's that. And now I'm moving towards the third speech, a bit important here. Now Satan says, is this the region, this the soil decline? He is now in hell, and in burning and engulfed by fire. And so is this the region, this the soil decline? Said then the lost archangel, this the seat that we must change for heaven, this mournful gloom for that celestial light. Look at this comparison. Yet here is darkness and trouble, and there was kindness and things like that. Be it so, okay, it has happened. So be it so, since he who now is sovereign can dispose and bid what shall be right, farthest from him is best, whom reason hath equal force, hath made supreme above his equals. Farewell, happy fields. Now look at this. This is a daring effort. Farewell, happy fields. And he is saying, where joy forever dwells, hail horrors, hail. Look at this. Saying farewell to the happy fields of heaven, paradise, and he is hailing horrors of hell. Infernal world, and thou profoundest hell, receive thy new possessor. One who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. Really important thing is this. That when he says, receive thy new possessor. A new being, a new person is entered you. And what kind of person is he? One who brings a mind, who has brought a mind with him, not to be changed by place or time. You know, that mind is same. If it was in paradise, it was the same. And even there is a change of place, and now in hell, mind is the same. What is the similarity? When he was in paradise, he didn't obey God. And now when he is in hell, he'll never obey God. So that's why his mind is not changeable. He'll never change it. He's not going to submit before God. So that is, and place and time. Time is also, there is a distance in that thing. And then this remarkable statement, which is very popular. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. It means that it will take a long time, but because we are having certain issues, uh, so I won't be able to go into that detail, but I'm just telling you a few things that it means to say that if if you are strong mentally, so if you are in a hot place, you will feel pleasant, and if you are in a cold place, you will feel pleasant. That is because the strength of mind. And it is the mind. If your mind declares something to be some place to be heaven, so even if it is hell, that will be heaven for you. And if your mind declares a certain place to be hell, so even if it is heaven, it will be hell for you. That is the power of mind. There are too many stories in this regard, but as it is not a face-to-face class tour, so I cannot go into that detail. What matter there if I be still the same, and what I should be all but less than he? I'm not. I'm not like God, uh, but I'm that very certain as used to be. And then this again, this remarkable thing that to reign is worth ambition, go in hell, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. This is something really wonderful. And he means to say that slavery, that slavery in the most comfortable and luxurious place is not acceptable to him. And that, you know, freedom, liberty, and self actualization is welcoming even if the place is utterly a hell. It's another problem if we consider slavery and freedom from these perspectives, whether, as he says, that better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. So, is it true that he is a ruler in hell? So, it's questionable. If he is a ruler, so how is it possible that he is suffering? A ruler can never be suffering. Anyhow, but very wonderful statement. This is to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. And if I, dislocate it from this context of Paradise Lost Book 1 and apply it to something else, so it leads us to that discussion of independence and freedom, which many times uh, makes me conclude that there is no independence and no freedom. But still, this is a powerful line, a powerful statement from Mr. Saturn in this regard, although it is coming from Milton. Milton himself was nearly a Saturn. But But wherefore let we and our faithful friends then associate and counterparts of the loss. Uh, Anyhow, I'll tell you, as we have discussed these few points from this, I share with you this point that from the speeches of Saturn we come to know that he has got some sort of heroism in him. Some even just this one thing that he has unchangeable mind. He is never going to submit before God. He is never going to accept the slavery that has been accepted by the angels and Adam and others, and that his courage to even this very thing that with the knowledge that he will never be able to defeat God, and he makes an attempt. Like if you think of if a poor man is fighting another poor man, so none of them will be recognized and none of them will become popular. But if a poor man all of a sudden have a battle, all of a sudden has a battle with a very popular man like Zardari or Nawaz Sharif or someone of that caliber and that status, so the man will automatically become very popular. So Saturn has made that technique for himself because he knew that. But since this is a courageous act that you are aware of the, um, you know, you are clearly aware of the result of your, you know, result of your action, and still you go fight. So that's something. So I think I hope you got my point that how Saturn has attempted to prove God as a weaker being and himself. I mean Saturn himself is a stronger being. So I hope you got this point, and the few lines that I repeated and are there. So you need to have a look on them as well. Thank you very much. And I'll be sending you a next video on that.